Well, we're in the middle of a major geopolitical shift. Donald Trump's tariff offensive has disrupted trade dynamics from the Arctic to the Antarctic. In search of a new stabilizing force, Western powers are now increasingly pivoting towards Asia. India and China, the world's most populated country and the world's second largest economy, have emerged as natural choices for European powers. European heads of state are now flying east to open new avenues of trade. In a historic agreement, India and the European Union have inked what they call the mother of all deals. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi called it a blueprint for shared prosperity, while EU chief Ursula von der Leyen called it a tale of two economic giants.
यह एफटीए भारत और यूरोपियन यूनियन के बीच इन्वेस्टमेंट को बूस्ट करेगा, नई इनोवेशन पार्टनरशिप बनाएगा और वैश्विक स्तर पर सप्लाई चेन को मजबूत करेगा। यानी यह सिर्फ ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट नहीं है, यह साझा समृद्धि का नया ब्लूप्रिंट है।
Prime Minister, distinguished friend, we did it. We delivered the mother of all deals. We are creating a market of 2 billion people, and this is the tale of two giants, the world's second and fourth largest economies, two giants who choose partnership in a true win-win fashion.
Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. European countries, remember, are undertaking a major shift. Is it just diversification or a sign of things to come? Well, that remains to be seen. But while the United States has distanced itself from the role of stabilizing force, China has stepped in to perhaps fill this void. China has launched a charm offensive on American allies. Several European heads of state have taken a trip to Beijing, and more high-stakes visits are lined up. These include visits by NATO members and the closest allies of the United States. French President Emmanuel Macron flew to Beijing last December. Macron led a delegation of over 100 representatives and signed 12 cooperation agreements covering bilateral investment, nuclear energy and the aerospace industry. The next major Western leader to visit China was Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney. Carney and Xi Jinping agreed to a preliminary trade agreement and announced a new strategic partnership. Canada's pivot to China irked Donald Trump, who threatened Ottawa with 100% tariffs if Mark Carney signs a free trade agreement with Beijing. Finland's Prime Minister is also currently on a 4-day official visit to China. Remember, Chinese President Xi Jinping said that Finnish businesses are allowed to swim freely in China's vast market. Earlier in this month, Irish Prime Minister Michel Martin had landed in Beijing as well, where he held meetings with President Jinping and Premier Li Qiang. The sequence of European leaders visiting China does not end here. Next in line to visit China is British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. UK's Prime Minister will visit China between 28th and 31st of January. It will be the first visit by a British Premier to China since 2018. Canada's Prime Minister Carney has also announced a visit to India. He will be arriving in New Delhi in the first week of March. This will be a major reset as ties between Ottawa and New Delhi soured under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, EU chief von der Leyen to India, Macron, Starmer, the Finnish and Irish Prime Ministers to China and Mark Carney to both countries reflects a lot more. If trade is the focus in 2026, then Asia is clearly emerging as its new centerpiece. Well, let's try and get a perspective on this. I'm joined by Dr. Volker Stanzel. He's previously served as German ambassador to China. Dr. Stanzel is joining us live from Berlin at the moment. Dr. Stanzel, good evening. Welcome to WION. I want to start by asking you how you see this, amid the kind of geopolitical uncertainties that this entire world is grappling with, particularly from United States of America. There is a clear pivot towards India and China, two Asian giants, not just for economics, but geopolitics as well, to send out a political message to Donald Trump.
Yes, I fully agree. the way to this you described the situation. It's a pivot to Asia, to India, to China. The question is, what is behind it? We now have the mother of all deals. We used to have something similar when the Mercosur agreement was signed between the European Union and Latin American countries, which created the largest free trade area in the world. So we have this pivot to, yes, the two biggest in Asia, India and China, and also to the global south. But what is the actual flesh on it? What is the substance of it? A lot of things are to be taken into consideration, and I appreciate that you are willing to look at that, because it's not that easy, of course. For one thing, China had already put on track its own plans to sort of replace what we have with the United Nations, with its global governance initiative, following the Global Civilization Initiative, the Global Security and the Global Development Initiative, declared by Chinese leaders. The last one was the Foreign Minister Wang Yi at the end of December, declared to be something that could create a new international order. Obviously, it would be an alternative for the United Nations. And we have something similar that happened with Donald Trump, with the board that he set up, the board that is to safeguard peace in the world, declaredly, but not in any way involved with the United Nations.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump sees himself as an alternative to the United Nations. You see, these are precarious elements in this whole development that we see, which we welcome, but which we have to analyze a little bit deeper in order to understand what is actually behind it.
Ambassador Senzel, apart from, of course, the geopolitical uncertainties that we're talking about, do you also think that, because this part of the world, India and China, have expanding economies, they are an aspiring population, the people want more, they are now, reaching out for more with the cost of living around the world rising, as opposed to major advanced economies which are now seeing aging populations, working population numbers being reduced, that stagnation coming in the economy. Do you also think these are factors that are contributing to the fact that major economies are now moving towards Asia?
Yes, definitely so. We have been looking for markets. A major market for European countries used to be the United States. That obviously has become very cumbersome to pursue, so we look elsewhere. China has been a major market, maybe the major market for many, many years for European countries, mainly my own one, Germany. But we have seen major problems occurring there during the past few years. You see that the new middle class there is not able to earn enough money anymore and is impoverishing. So China's looking for ways out of that. One way is to produce more, but producing more than it could be sold, could be sold, is something that is a problem for the country. So the way out is export. So you see export, I don't know the situation in India, but in Europe, in Latin America, and Africa, you see all these Chinese goods. But does it bring relief to the ordinary worker in China? So far, that's not the case. So that is a problem that has to be resolved. As I said, I don't know the situation in India.
So long-term impact, long-term solutions is something that, the countries need to work upon. But quickly, before I let you go, Ambassador Senzel, I also want to talk about what the Europe thinks as far as the difference between India and China is concerned. There is an underlying sentiment when it comes to China that there is an expansionist policy, that it is having this trade war in a contest against the United States of America, and therefore it wants to become the Asian superpower. Is there some sort of mistrust when it comes to China?
Yes, it certainly is. I spoke about the speech that Wang Yi, the foreign minister, has given at the end of last year, and that was very outspoken, and the ambition of China was quite clear. I mean, it has to be like that. If you see Donald Trump trying to sideline China wherever it's possible, to take away its past and future role to the benefit of the United States. So China has to fight back. And one way is, of course, to try to ally itself more closely with European countries, with Germany, with France, with the UK. And they all are looking east as well. So there might be something coming from there. In the case of India, as you've asked me about that, I think there is much uncertainty how far it is possible to develop a similar close relationships with India. Our head of the European Commission has just been to India, and the head of the presidency, representative of the European presidency as well. But what is coming out of that mother of all deals? Where will we go? Will it be only in the economy, or will there be also political realignment between the two sides?
Perhaps that's the kind of symbolism that the two sides have wanted to at least give out, particularly to the West. Let's wait and watch how this moved forwards as far as geopolitics and geoeconomics is concerned. Ambassador Stanzel, thank you very much. I'll leave it here. Thank you for joining us and sharing with us your perspective.
You're welcome.